Welcome to our journey into the world of one of the most fascinating creatures on Earth, the hippopotamus. Today, we'll uncover 8 amazing facts about these incredible animals. These colossal beings, often seen basking languidly in the African sun, possess a complexity and a surprising array of adaptations that allow them to thrive in their unique semi-aquatic environments. They are creatures of immense power, yet they display intricate social structures and surprising gentleness in their maternal care. Prepare to look beyond their somewhat comical, barrel-shaped appearance and discover the true nature of these river giants. Our exploration will take us deep into the heart of hippo territory, from the vast river systems to the grassy plains where they forage under the cover of darkness. We will delve into their remarkable physiology, their life from vulnerable calf to dominant adult, and the surprising connections they share with other members of the animal kingdom. The hippopotamus is an animal of contrasts. Placid one moment, fiercely territorial the next, a grazer of grasses yet possessing some of the most formidable weaponry in Africa. Join us as we peel back the layers of understanding surrounding this iconic mega-herbivore. We aim to reveal not just facts, but the story of the hippopotamus, a story of survival, adaptation, and its crucial role within the rich tapestry of African wildlife. By the end of our journey, we hope you will have a newfound appreciation for these magnificent and often misunderstood inhabitants of the continent's waterways and the urgent need for their continued protection. The hippopotamus, scientifically known as, is a truly colossal mammal, a living testament to nature's capacity for creating creatures of immense scale and presence. When one first beholds an adult hippo, particularly on land, its sheer bulk is undeniably impressive. A formidable assembly of muscle, bone, and thick hide. They are, without question, one of the largest land animals on Earth, their bodies perfectly, if rather uniquely, sculpted for a life spent negotiating both aquatic and terrestrial realms. Their very name, derived from ancient Greek, means river horse, a somewhat poetic, if not entirely accurate, descriptor for these heavyweight champions of the African waterways. On average, an adult hippopotamus can weigh anywhere between 1,500 to 3,200 kilograms, which is roughly 3,300 to 7,000 pounds. There are even exceptional records of massive bulls tipping the scales at an astonishing 4,500 kilograms, nearly 10,000 pounds. This incredible weight is supported by short, stocky legs, which, despite their appearance, are immensely powerful, capable of propelling this enormous mass with surprising speed over short distances, especially when the animal feels threatened or is charging. Their low center of gravity also contributes to their stability, both in water and on uneven riverbanks. In terms of physical dimensions, adult hippos typically measure between 3.3 to 5.2 meters, or 11 to 17 feet in length, from their broad snouts to the base of their relatively small tails. Their height at the shoulder usually ranges from 1.3 to 1.65 meters, or 4.3 to 5.4 feet. This combination of length and height, coupled with their tremendous girth, gives them their characteristic barrel-shaped physique. Their skin alone can weigh up to half a ton and is largely hairless, except for a few bristles on the muzzle and tail, an adaptation that aids their aquatic lifestyle by reducing drag in the water. A notable aspect of hippo anatomy is sexual dimorphism, with males or bulls generally being significantly larger and heavier than females or cows. While an average female might weigh around 1,400 kilograms, approximately 3,000 pounds, a mature bull can easily outweigh her by several hundred kilograms, sometimes even a ton more. This size difference is often a factor in the fierce territorial disputes and dominance hierarchies observed within hippopods, where larger males typically secure breeding rights and control prime sections of their watery territories. The males also possess longer and more formidable canine and incisor teeth. This immense size has profound implications for the hippopotamus's lifestyle and its impact on the environment. Their bulk necessitates spending a significant portion of their day submerged in water or wallowing in mud to keep their massive bodies cool under the harsh African sun and to prevent their sensitive skin from dehydrating and cracking. When they move through waterways, they can create channels and pathways, and their grazing habits on land contribute to shaping the vegetation structure of riverine ecosystems. Their size also means they have few natural predators as adults, though lions and hyenas may occasionally target young, sick or isolated individuals. To truly appreciate their scale, one might compare them to other familiar large land mammals. While an African elephant is considerably taller and generally heavier, the hippopotamus rivals the white rhinoceros for the title of the second largest land animal by weight. Their density is also remarkable. They are so dense, in fact, that they can walk or run along the bottom of rivers rather than having to swim in the conventional sense, giving them a unique method of underwater locomotion. This sheer physicality is a defining characteristic central to understanding their ecology and behavior. The life cycle of a hippopotamus is a fascinating passage from a relatively small and vulnerable newborn to one of Africa's most formidable herbivores. It begins, as all mammalian life does, with conception, followed by a gestation period that lasts approximately 8 months, or around 240 days. This is a surprisingly short gestation for an animal of such considerable size, yet it is a period of intense development within the mother's womb, preparing the calf for the challenges of its aquatic and terrestrial existence. Births can occur year-round, though there may be peaks in some regions corresponding with periods of abundant food. Typically, a female hippopotamus gives birth to a single calf, although twins are, on very rare occasions, recorded. The birthing process itself is a remarkable event, often taking place in the water, which provides immediate support and a degree of safety for the newborn. Some mothers, however, may choose a secluded spot on land, perhaps amidst dense vegetation, to bring their young into the world. A newborn hippo calf weighs between 25 to 55 kilograms, around 55 to 120 pounds, and is approximately 127 centimeters, about 50 inches, long, a miniature version of its colossal parents, yet utterly dependent on its mother for survival. The early days and weeks of a hippo calf's life are a period of intense vulnerability. It must quickly learn to navigate its watery world, and though it can swim almost immediately, it relies heavily on its mother for protection and guidance. The mother is fiercely protective, keeping her calf close and shielding it from potential dangers, which can include crocodiles, lions, hyenas, and even aggressive male hippos, particularly those that are not the calf's sire. The calf will suckle underwater, a rather unique adaptation by closing its nostrils and ears, and will continue to nurse for around 6 to 8 months, sometimes even longer, up to a year. As the calf grows, the weaning process begins gradually. It will start to sample grasses and other vegetation alongside its mother, learning by observation what is good to eat and how to forage effectively. This transition from a milk-based diet to solid food is a critical stage in its development, providing the necessary nutrients for its rapid growth. During this time, the bond between mother and calf remains exceptionally strong, with the mother continuing to provide steadfast protection and essential life lessons. The young hippo learns the social rules of the pod and the dangers of the wider world under her watchful eye. The juvenile stage sees the young hippo becoming increasingly independent, though it may stay close to its mother for several years. It will interact more with other young hippos within the pod, engaging in playful sparring, which helps develop skills needed later in life for serious territorial disputes or defense. Growth continues steadily, and by the age of about 3 to 4 years, young hippos are well on their way to adult size, though they may not reach their full bulk for several more years. They are learning the complex social dynamics, the layout of their territory, and the best grazing spots. Sexual maturity is typically reached between 3.5 to 5 years for females, while males may mature slightly later, often around 7 to 8 years, though they are unlikely to successfully breed until they are much older and larger, capable of challenging dominant bulls. The average lifespan of a hippopotamus in the wild is around 40 to 50 years, though individuals in captivity, free from the stresses of predation, drought and competition, have been known to live longer, sometimes exceeding 60 years. This long journey from a small, dependent calf to a dominant, breeding adult is a testament to their resilience and complex social adaptations. The upbringing of a hippopotamus calf is a profound demonstration of maternal dedication in the animal kingdom. The primary, indeed almost exclusive caregiver is the mother. From the moment of birth, a cow hippo invests an enormous amount of energy and vigilance into ensuring the survival and well-being of her offspring. This maternal bond is incredibly strong and forms the cornerstone of the calf's early development, providing not just sustenance through milk, but also crucial protection and education in the complex life of a semi-aquatic giant. The father plays little to no direct role in raising the young, his focus being more on territorial defense and mating opportunities. One of the mother hippo's most critical roles is that of protector. Hippo calves, despite their future formidable size, are initially quite vulnerable to a range of predators. Nile crocodiles lurking in the same waters pose a constant threat, as do lions, spotted hyenas and leopards if a calf strays too far onto land or becomes isolated. A mother hippo is extraordinarily aggressive in defense of her calf, and her sheer size, powerful jaws and formidable canine teeth make her a truly daunting adversary. She will unhesitatingly charge any perceived threat, often successfully driving off even the largest and most determined predators. Beyond mere protection, the mother hippo is also the calf's first and most important teacher. She guides it in the water, teaching it how to navigate currents and find safe resting spots. She demonstrates which grasses are palatable and nutritious during their nocturnal foraging excursions on land. The calf learns by closely observing and mimicking its mother's behaviors, from social interactions within the pod to techniques for efficiently cropping grass. This observational learning is vital for the calf to acquire the skills necessary for independent survival as it matures and eventually ventures out on its own. In some hippo populations, a form of communal care, or at least tolerance, can be observed, though it's not as structured as a creche system seen in some other mammals. Calves within a pod will often interact and play together under the watchful eyes of their respective mothers and other adult females. While each mother is primarily responsible for her own offspring, the presence of multiple vigilant adults in a group can offer an additional layer of collective security for all the youngsters. These early social interactions with peers are also important for developing social skills and understanding group dynamics. While the dominant bull of a pod does not participate in direct parental care, his presence and territorial defense indirectly benefit the calves. By maintaining control over a stretch of river and its associated resources, and by deterring rival males who might pose a threat to young hippos during aggressive takeovers, the territorial bull creates a relatively stable and secure environment for the females and their offspring within his domain. However, bulls can also be a danger to calves, particularly those not their own, and mothers must sometimes actively defend their young from infanticidal males. The transition to independence for a young hippo is a gradual process. Even after weaning, a calf will typically remain close to its mother for several years, often until she gives birth to her next offspring. This extended period of association allows the young hippo to continue learning and benefiting from its mother's experience and protection. Eventually, as it approaches maturity, it will begin to assert more independence, with young males often leaving their natal groups to seek their own territories, while young females may sometimes remain within or near their mother's pod. This careful, extended nurturing is key to the successful propagation of these river giants. Chapter 4. Where waters run deep, the hippo's domain. The hippopotamus is inextricably linked to the aquatic environments of sub-Saharan Africa. Its very existence is defined by the presence of water. These magnificent creatures are most commonly found in regions graced with rivers, lakes, swamps and freshwater marshes, where they can submerge their massive bodies and find respite from the often scorching African sun. Their distribution, while historically more widespread, is now somewhat fragmented but still encompasses a significant portion of the continent, from West Africa across to the east and down into southern Africa, wherever suitable water bodies and adjacent grazing lands persist. Water is not merely a preference for the hippopotamus, it is an absolute necessity. Their skin, though thick, is surprisingly sensitive to dehydration and sunburn if exposed for prolonged periods. The cool embrace of the water helps regulate their body temperature, preventing overheating, which would be a serious risk for such a large animal in a hot climate. Furthermore, water provides buoyancy. taking the strain off their relatively short legs and allowing them to rest comfortably. They are masterful in their aquatic realm, able to hold their breath for impressive periods, typically around 5 minutes, but sometimes longer, and can even sleep underwater, instinctively rising to the surface to breathe without waking. While they are denizens of the water by day, hippos are creatures of the land by night. As dusk settles, they emerge from their aquatic refuges to forage, often trekking considerable distances, sometimes up to several kilometers inland, in search of palatable grasses. Therefore, their ideal habitat comprises not only a permanent body of water deep enough for submersion, but also accessible adjacent grasslands or savanna that can support their substantial dietary needs. The interface between water and land is the critical zone for hippo survival, offering both safety and sustenance. The specific types of vegetation preferred by hippos in their grazing areas consist mainly of short, tender grasses. They are bulk grazers, using their wide, muscular lips to pull up large mouthfuls of grass, rather than biting it off cleanly, like some other herbivores. They tend to avoid very tall, coarse grasses if shorter, more nutritious options are available. The presence of these suitable grazing lawns near their daytime aquatic haunts is a key determinant of habitat quality. The depth and flow rate of the water are also important. They prefer areas where they can stand or lie with much of their body submerged, but still easily access the banks. Unfortunately, the natural habitats of hippopotamuses are increasingly under pressure from human activities. The expansion of agriculture, particularly along fertile riverbanks, leads to habitat loss and fragmentation, reducing the available grazing areas and access to water. Dam construction can alter water flow regimes, affecting water levels and the quality of hippo habitats. Pollution from agricultural runoff and industrial waste can also degrade the water quality, impacting not only the hippos but the entire aquatic ecosystem upon which they depend. The hippopotamus exhibits several remarkable adaptations to its semi-aquatic lifestyle. Its eyes, ears, and nostrils are positioned high on its head, allowing it to see, hear, and breathe while almost completely submerged, a perfect periscope design for observing its surroundings while remaining concealed. Their skin secretes an oily, reddish substance, often referred to as blood sweat, which acts as a natural sunscreen, moisturizer, and possibly even an antiseptic, protecting their skin both in and out of the water. These adaptations underscore just how deeply their evolution has been shaped by the demands of living a life split between two worlds. Chapter 5. An unexpected kinship, the hippo's family tree. When observing the hippopotamus with its robust, pig-like physique and terrestrial grazing habits, one might naturally assume its closest relatives are swine or perhaps other hoofed land mammals like peccaries. For many years this was indeed a common belief, even among scientists, based on superficial morphological similarities and some shared dental characteristics. However, the true story of the hippo's ancestry, as revealed by modern molecular genetics and a re-examination of the fossil record, is far more surprising and highlights the often convoluted pathways of evolution. Scientifically, hippos belong to the order Artiodactyla, the even-toed ungulates, a diverse group that includes animals such as deer, cattle, sheep, goats, camels, and pigs. Within this order, they are placed in their own family, Hippopotamidae. For a long time, their precise placement within Artiodactyla was a subject of considerable debate. Traditional classifications based on anatomy often grouped them with suiformes, pigs and peccaries, or with other large herbivores whose evolutionary paths were not clearly understood. The advent of molecular phylogenetics in the late 20th and early 21st centuries revolutionized our understanding of animal relationships. By comparing DNA sequences, scientists were able to uncover deep evolutionary connections that were not apparent from physical appearance alone. Astonishingly, these genetic studies revealed that the closest living relatives of hippopotamuses are not pigs or any other land-dwelling artiodactyl, but rather cetaceans, the group that includes whales, dolphins, and porpoises. This discovery was a landmark moment in vertebrate zoology, reshaping our understanding of mammal evolution. The evidence supporting this hippocetacean link is now overwhelming, coming from multiple independent genetic markers, as well as new interpretations of fossil discoveries. Anatomical studies have also identified shared derived traits, particularly in the ankle bones, astragalus, and other skeletal features that point to a common ancestor for hippos and cetaceans, to the exclusion of other artiodactyls. This group, comprising hippos and cetaceans, is sometimes referred to as Whippomorpha or Cetancodonta, signifying their close evolutionary bond. It is believed that the lineage leading to modern hippos and cetaceans diverged from other artiodactyls around 60 million years ago. The common ancestor of hippos and cetaceans was likely a semi-aquatic, four-legged mammal. Subsequently, the cetacean lineage embarked on a remarkable evolutionary journey, becoming fully aquatic and adapting to marine life, losing their hind limbs and evolving flukes and blowholes. The hippopotamus lineage, while also strongly tied to water, retained its four limbs and its ability to live both in aquatic and terrestrial environments, representing a different evolutionary trajectory from that shared aquatic ancestor. While cetaceans are their closest living kin, hippos still share a more distant ancestry with other artiodactyls. Within the broader Artiodactyla order, after cetaceans, their next closest relatives are thought to be ruminants, cattle, sheep, deer, giraffes, etc., though this relationship is much more ancient. The story of the hippos family tree serves as a powerful reminder that appearances can be deceiving in the natural world, and that the deep history of life is often full of unexpected twists and turns, revealed through the patient work of scientific investigation across multiple disciplines. Despite their formidable appearance, with enormous mouths and fearsome-looking teeth, hippopotamuses are overwhelmingly herbivores, their diet consisting almost exclusively of grasses. They're often referred to as mega-herbivores due to their large size and the substantial quantity of vegetation they consume to sustain their massive bodies. Their dietary habits play a significant role in the ecosystems they inhabit, particularly in shaping the grasslands adjacent to their watery daytime refuges. The image of a placid grazer might seem at odds with their aggressive reputation, but when it comes to food, plants are their primary focus. Hippos are predominantly nocturnal grazers. They spend the hot daylight hours submerged in water or wallowing in mud to stay cool and protect their skin. As dusk approaches and temperatures drop, they emerge from the water and venture onto land to feed. These foraging excursions can take them several kilometers away from their water sources, following well-worn paths that they create over time. They typically graze for 4 to 5 hours each night, methodically cropping grass with their broad, muscular lips rather than their teeth, which are primarily used for defense and display. The types of grasses hippos consume can vary depending on availability and season, but they generally prefer short, succulent grasses that are rich in nutrients. They are not particularly selective grazers in terms of species, but they do show a preference for areas with dense, low-growing swards. They can consume a remarkable amount of vegetation in a single night. An adult hippo may eat between 35 to 50 kilograms of grass each evening. This intake, while substantial, is relatively low for an animal of its size, representing about 1 to 1.5% of its body weight due to its relatively sedentary lifestyle during the day. To process this large volume of plant material, hippos possess a complex, multi-chambered stomach, though it is different from the true ruminant stomach found in cattle or deer. Their digestive system is highly efficient at extracting nutrients from tough grasses. Food passes slowly through their digestive tract, allowing for thorough fermentation and absorption of nutrients. This efficient digestion means they can derive sufficient energy from a relatively low-quality diet, which is advantageous in environments where food availability can fluctuate. While their diet is almost entirely herbivorous, there have been rare and isolated reports of hippos scavenging on carcasses or even very occasionally killing and consuming other animals. These instances are considered highly atypical and are not representative of their normal feeding behavior. Such occurrences might be driven by extreme nutritional stress, mineral deficiencies, or opportunistic feeding in unusual circumstances. However, it is crucial to emphasize that their anatomy, physiology, and typical behavior are all geared towards a plant-based diet. The impact of hippo grazing on terrestrial ecosystems can be significant. By consuming large quantities of grass, they help maintain open grassland areas, preventing encroachment by shrubs and trees. Their dung, deposited both on land and in water, plays a vital role in nutrient cycling, enriching soils and aquatic systems. The pathways they create through vegetation can also provide access for other smaller animals and influence water flow in swampy areas. Thus, these vegetarian giants are not just passive consumers, but active shapers of their environment. Hippopotamuses are generally gregarious animals, often found living in groups which are commonly referred to as pods, bloats, or schools. These groups can vary in size from just a few individuals to over 100, depending on factors such as habitat quality, water availability, and the time of year. Within these pods, there is a distinct, though sometimes fluid, social structure, typically organized around a dominant territorial bull, a number of adult females and their offspring, and some subordinate or younger males. The dominant bull is the linchpin of the pod's social hierarchy, at least concerning a specific stretch of water. He fiercely defends his territory, which includes the prime sections of the river or lake and access to nearby grazing areas from rival males. This defense involves elaborate displays of aggression, including wide-mouthed yawns that showcase his formidable canine and incisor teeth, loud honks and grunts, and sometimes violent physical confrontations. These fights can be brutal, often resulting in serious injuries or even death as males slash and stab at each other with their tusk-like teeth. Communication among hippos is a rich tapestry of vocalizations, body language, and scent marking. Their repertoire of sounds includes deep bellows, resonant honks, guttural grunts, and high-pitched squeals, each conveying different messages related to threat, submission, alarm, or social bonding. The famous wheeze honk call is a characteristic sound of the African night, used by bulls to advertise their presence and territorial ownership. Dung scattering, achieved by rapidly wagging their tails while defecating, is another prominent display used by bulls to mark their territory and assert dominance. While highly territorial in the water, where breeding and resting occur, hippos tend to be more solitary and less aggressive when grazing on land at night. During these nocturnal foraging trips, the strict social hierarchies observed in the water may temporarily relax, and individuals from different pods might graze in relative proximity without conflict, though they usually maintain some personal space. This shift in behavior reflects the different priorities and pressures in their aquatic versus terrestrial environments. Water is a limited, defensible resource, while grazing areas are often more expansive. Life within the pod is not solely about aggression and dominance. There are also moments of calm and social interaction. Mothers are incredibly attentive to their calves, and young hippos can often be seen playing together. Allogrooming, where one hippo nibbles gently on another's skin, has been observed, though it's less common than in primates. Resting in close proximity, often piled up against each other on sandbanks or in shallow water, provides a sense of security and helps with thermoregulation. These interactions help maintain social bonds within the group. Interactions with other species are varied. While adult hippos have few natural enemies, they share their aquatic habitats with Nile crocodiles, and confrontations can occur, especially if calves are threatened. On land, they may encounter lions or hyenas, particularly when moving to and from grazing areas. Hippos are generally intolerant of other animals intruding too closely into their personal space in the water, and their unpredictable and aggressive nature makes them one of the most dangerous animals in Africa for humans, responsible for more human fatalities than many other large predators. This underscores the importance of respecting their space and power. Despite their formidable presence and iconic status in African wildlife, the common hippopotamus faces a future that is increasingly uncertain. The International Union for Conservation of Nature currently lists the hippopotamus as vulnerable on its red list of threatened species. This classification reflects a concerning decline in their populations across many parts of their range, driven by a combination of persistent and growing threats that jeopardize their long-term survival in the wild. One of the primary threats to hippopotamus populations is habitat loss and degradation. As human populations expand across Africa, there is increasing pressure on land and water resources. Wetlands are drained for agriculture, rivers are dammed for hydroelectric power or irrigation, and human settlements encroach upon traditional hippo territories. This reduces the available space for hippos to live, feed and breed, leading to smaller, more fragmented populations that are less resilient to other pressures. Loss of vital grazing lands near water sources is particularly detrimental. Poaching represents another significant threat. Hippos are hunted for their meat, which is a source of protein in some communities and, perhaps more significantly, for their ivory. Hippo canine teeth made of dense dentine are carved and sold, often as a substitute for elephant ivory, especially when restrictions on elephant ivory trade tighten. This illegal trade puts immense pressure on hippo populations, particularly targeting adult males with the largest tusks, which can have severe impacts on social structures and breeding success within pods. Human-wildlife conflict is an escalating problem in areas where human settlements and agricultural lands overlap with hippo habitats. As hippos emerge from rivers at night to graze, they may wander into cultivated fields, damaging crops and leading to economic losses for local farmers. This can result in retaliatory killings or calls for problem animals to be removed. Furthermore, due to their size and aggressive nature when threatened or surprised, hippos can pose a danger to people who live or work near water bodies, leading to further negative perceptions and conflict. Fortunately, dedicated conservation efforts are underway across Africa to protect these magnificent river giants. These initiatives include the establishment and effective management of protected areas such as national parks and reserves, which provide safe havens for hippos and other wildlife. Anti-poaching patrols work tirelessly to combat illegal hunting and trafficking of hippo products. Community-based conservation programs aim to engage local people in wildlife protection, offering alternative livelihoods and fostering a sense of stewardship for their natural heritage. Research and monitoring programs are also crucial for understanding hippo population dynamics and the effectiveness of conservation strategies. The conservation of hippopotamuses is not just about saving a single species. It is about preserving the health and integrity of entire freshwater and grassland ecosystems. As large herbivores, hippos play a crucial role as ecological engineers, influencing vegetation structure and nutrient cycling. Their dung transfers significant amounts of nutrients from terrestrial to aquatic systems, supporting a wide array of other organisms. Ensuring the survival of the hippopotamus means safeguarding the rich biodiversity that depends on the African rivers and wetlands they call home, a task that requires sustained commitment and international cooperation. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of the hippopotamus. We hope you enjoyed learning about these magnificent creatures. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more amazing wildlife facts. From their surprising relatives in the deep oceans to their complex social lives enacted along Africa's vital waterways, the hippopotamus is a creature of endless fascination. They are far more than just large, water-loving herbivores. They are keystones of their ecosystems, architects of their environment, and symbols of the wild heart of Africa. Our journey has revealed their immense power, their dedicated parental care, and the unique adaptations that allow them to straddle two worlds. The cool refuge of the water and the grassy plains of the night. We've seen their surprising gentleness and their formidable aggression, a duality that defines their existence. The hippo reminds us that the natural world is full of unexpected connections and intricate balances, each species playing a vital role in the grand theatre of life. As we've also learned, these incredible animals face significant challenges to their survival, primarily from human activities. It is our collective responsibility to ensure that future generations can continue to marvel at the sight of a hippopod basking in a river, or the sound of their calls echoing across the savannah at dusk. By supporting conservation efforts and fostering a deeper understanding and respect for wildlife, we can help secure a future for the hippopotamus and the rich biodiversity it represents.